Hello and welcome to the entry webinar for the United Kingdom Effie Awards. In this webinar, we will outline what judges are looking for in your entry materials. The Effie entry form is the most important part of your entry. While your creative reel shows the work that ran in the marketplace, your written entry form is where you tie everything together, from the challenge you were given, the insights you used to develop your big idea, how you determined your communications and media strategies, and of course the results. When presenting your effort, it's important for you to communicate effectively. You're encouraged to use a little personality when telling your story. Judges are reading between 10 and 15 cases in a judging session, so they appreciate what cases are clear, concise, and easy to read. It allows them to understand what you did and why you did it much faster than if they have to go digging through your case to put the pieces together. Graphs and charts usually help with this. Also, make sure each part of your entry links together and reads like you are telling a cohesive story. By linking each part of the entry together, you can better prove that it was your work that led to the result. Throughout the webinar, we'll be showing you some quotes directly from the judges. Well-written cases have a storytelling feel that keeps it interesting, but still address the facts and answer questions clearly and concisely. Honesty is important, as judges are your industry peers, and they typically know when something is omitted or isn't sounding right. Be straightforward and to the point, and only include relevant information. Because judges are reading 10 to 15 entries, you need to make your entry succinct and interesting. You want your entry to stand out and not get lost in the mix, even if your case is the 11th case they are reviewing that day. It's also very important to have both senior team members and strong proofreaders review your case before submitting. Senior team members may be able to provide additional broad-spectrum context and background, and too often typos are included in the entry, and this doesn't come across well to judges. Over and over again, judges complain the context is missing from entries. Entries that win typically provide comparison to what else is going on in the industry and in the brand's history. This allows judges to understand how significant your objectives and results are. A judge who works in a different industry may not know that your objective of a 2% sales increase is extremely difficult to achieve in your industry. Similarly, when they see the results, they need to understand that what you achieved is truly significant. What do your results mean for the brand, for its business, for its future? Judges need more than just the data dump. The context is needed to understand the full picture. Just a little housekeeping note on something that is critical in your entry. Sourcing your data is very important, as judges will disregard any data that is not sourced, and this includes anything in your entry, not just results. All facts and research you present in your challenge and insights also need a source. Don't include results past the end of the eligibility period, and do not include any agency names, including outside agencies, in your sourcing. If your research came from your own agency, simply list that as agency research and then include other relevant information like the type of research and the dates covered. If it came from a media agency partner, list as media agency research and include that other relevant information. Dates are extremely important because of Effie's specific eligibility period, so you need to include dates for all data presented, particularly in results, so judges know what data is from within this eligibility period. So after the judges review your written case, creative reel and images for judging, They will provide 4 scores for each of these scoring sections. Not surprising, as an effectiveness competition, you'll see that the results are weighted higher than the other sections. So now, let's get into the details of the entry form. In the first section of the online entry form, instructions are outlined and some basic information is required. If your case is a finalist or winner, the brand name and entry title entered in the online entry area will be how your case is publicly recognised. There is another place in the online entry area to note the overarching client name, so it's fine to list the specific brand name here without the parent company. Both the client and brand name are recognised if your case is a finalist or winner. The first scoring section of the online entry is the Strategic Communications Challenge and Objectives. In the Strategic Challenge section, providing context for your challenge is important. Judges may not work in this category and may not know if your objectives are significant. Explain the degree of difficulty of your challenge. Were there any barriers you're going to need to overcome in reaching your goals? Judges are also looking to see why your target is the right one for the challenge, what tools you set up to measure your success, and the business problem your effort was meant to address. Retrofitting objectives to match the results is one of the most common critiques from judges. If your objective is to increase sales by 32.3%, and your results just so happen to be 32.3%, it may sound a little fishy to judges. When providing your objectives, give context so judges understand why you set those goals. They need to understand why that 32.3% was significant and right for your situation. If you were given open-ended objectives, explain that and explain how you plan to determine if your effort was a success. This section really sets the stage for the rest of your case. So if this section is weak, it tends to weaken the whole case. Provide a basis for why your goals are set at that particular level. The judges are assessing both suitability and ambitiousness within the framework of the Strategic Communications Challenge. Outline all parts of the challenge. Like this judge said, perhaps there are cultural challenges, brand challenges, and business challenges to address. The next section of the entry form is the idea section. The idea section asks entrants to explain the insight behind the case and that led to your big idea. Any kind of insights are appropriate. Strong insights typically lead to more success. Explain the research that was done that brought you to your idea. Explain why that insight is relevant to both your audience and marketing challenge. Judges are evaluating how inventive and effective the idea is in meeting the Strategic Communications Challenge. We ask for the big idea in one sentence, no exceptions here. The big idea is not your tagline, it's the core idea that drove your effort and led to your results. As one of our judges noted, the idea is the pivot which turns the smart analysis of the problem into a unique solution that no competitors could emulate. The Bringing the Idea to Life section encompasses all parts of your creative work. Entrants often become so concerned about the creative reel, but it's important to remember that judges are only evaluating the creative work itself, not the production value of the reel. Additionally, the creative work and your responses to questions in this section come together for this section's entire score, which is 23.3% of the total score. Entrants should tie the communication strategy directly back to objectives and insights. Your written online entry should outline your communications and media strategy and outline the elements that were integral to the success of the effort. In this section, you're also asked to note other marketing components that were active, pinpoint the communications touchpoints used, and provide background on paid, owned, and earned media. Bringing the idea to life. Too often, entrants do not explain why they chose the media channels that they did. Be clear about your communications strategy and how your insight led to those choices. Why are the channels you chose appropriate for your audience and strategy? Why did you place priority on some channels over others? Don't waste video time retelling the same story your judges just read. Remember, they read your case first, then they watch the video. This is a place to really show your work and how you brought your idea to life. It's fine if you would like to provide some setup to the work and provide a story to your reel, but the focus must remain on the creative work itself. Judges are often frustrated when the creative reel spends too much time on the setup that there isn't enough time to show enough examples of the work. It's important that you do not introduce something completely new that was not addressed in the written case, and similarly, if a creative element is discussed in your online entry submission as integral, you should be shown as an example here. And just a reminder on the reel, you cannot include any results of any kind in your creative reel. Do not show the number of social media followers or likes. Do not say that you beat out the #1 brand. That is for your written case to tell. The focus here is simply on the creative work and how you brought the idea to life. And finally, the results section, which accounts for the 30% of the total score. In this section, you must outline why you considered your effort a success. Provide results relating back to your KPIs and objectives. Explain why, with context, your results are significant. You also must address other factors that contributed to the results, and those factors could have either helped the results or hindered them. Because of Effie's specific eligibility period, it's important that dates are provided for all data. Charts and graphs are a great way to help judges review your results, but the context still needs to be there. Also, when inserting charts, please ensure no competitor logos are used and that all numbers are legible when the document is printed. We often have to go back to entrants, asking them to increase the font size in the charts because it's too small to read. Judges are looking for you to tie your results back to your objectives. If you set up an objective and don't discuss it in the results, they certainly will question that. Providing category context is also important. Judges need to understand why your results are significant and what they did for the brand. Now, if there is specific data that cannot be shared, you can also use some creativity to show the scale of your results. For example, we had one winning case in the North American Effie competition that could not share specific data. However, they were able to share store traffic, percentage of sales increase, and equated the sales increase to the building, stocking, and opening of an additional 300,000 square foot store in that market. That context bolsters the magnitude of the entry, and the judges who scored this case appreciated that comparison. Here are some of the quotes from the judges from the 2015 North American Effie Awards Competition. Again, it is important to clearly refer to your objectives when providing results. If you have additional results, that's great, and you should share them, but be sure to address all your objectives. Strong entries provide context about historical data, industry benchmarks, your competitive situation. Prove that it was your work that led to the results. Judges value honesty and want a clear explanation of your situation. Again, judges are your peers. They may think that different variables going on in the marketplace may have led to your success. In this section, you may eliminate those variables that a judge may think contributed. Some of our strongest entrants will call out those variables that a judge could think helped the results, and then eliminate them one by one. And if something did help your results, address it. Judges understand that there are factors, whether or not you were behind them, that can affect results, but the honesty shows you weren't trying to hide something. And now just some final tips before you submit your case. You are encouraged to have your colleagues, especially those that don't work on your brand, score your entry as if they were a judge. Ask them for their honest opinion of what questions arose while reading the entry. What parts they found confusing and boring? Was there enough context to understand the significance of your objectives and results? Have a proofreader check for typos, logic flow errors, grammatical errors, and so on. Please also double check your entry before submitting to ensure that you are not violating any of the reasons for disqualification or formatting requirements. The most common reasons for disqualifications are results in the creative reel, agency names cited in the entry materials, and a lack of sourcing data. All questions must be answered. And again, just some final thoughts from judges in having colleagues review your entry before submission. Ensure that category-specific information is provided for judges that do not work in your category, and that you do not use jargon without any explanation of what those terms mean. For more insight, we would encourage you to review the advice from the jury document, which is available with the rest of the entry materials on Effie UK website. Thank you, and best of luck in the competition.